Hey everybody, how's it going? B Temple here again, and today we're gonna take a trip back to Russia. Specifically, this time around, we're gonna be heading into the mountains. I guess is the best way to put it. This ration that we see here in front of us today is what's known as a Russian mountain FSB, or basically a Russian high altitude, hilly area mountain, whatever you want to call it. 24-hour ration. The particular one we have here today is menu 2. They only come in 2 different menus, as we can see by the package. It gives information on menu number 1 and number 2. So this particular menu has about 5,062 calories, which is an incredible amount of food, incredible amount of calories and energy for a 24-hour period. There's no way I'd be able to eat all of this in a span of 24 hours. A great deal of components in here, and they've got the production date as well as the expiration date here. And as we can see, it's supposed to expire on or about the 2nd of April 2018. So we're getting pretty close. That's less than 2 weeks, and this particular ration will be considered expired. But the item that's in there that's probably going to be the reason for that early of an expiry date will probably be something like the crackers or something like that. But I guess we'll see when we open it up and how everything's going. I'd like to give a shout out first of all to the people who helped supply, I suppose, this ration for me for this review is a group by the name of Russia_MRE on Instagram. These guys messaged me and told me they had these particular rations and got an incredible deal on it. So I would certainly recommend everybody checking out Russia_MRE on both Instagram and eBay. It's a little cheaper if you go through them through Instagram, because then you don't get all the eBay fees. And this particular ration itself is going to be a bit of a collaborative effort as well with one of my ration brethren, Shocker71, and he's going to be reviewing at around the same time as myself a Menu 1 FSB mountain ration, but of the newer type. That's a new manufacturer that's producing these, packing these, and the sticker's like a completely different look. It's a completely different looking thing. The actual ration itself, the size of it, the shape is all the same, except the sticker will look different, and it's a different packaging company. So it'll be interesting to see some of the similarities between the ration I'm doing and the one the Shocker's doing, and see what some of the differences are. I hear there are some differences, but there's a few very, very interesting items in these. If you've seen my previous Russian ration review, the IRP, which is the standard Russian military ration, usually comes with a large amount of food items. This is even more than that. The one particular gem for this is that the very nice dark chocolate bar that comes with the Russian rations, this particular one comes with 5 of those instead of 1. So yeah, 1 for each meal, and then a few for snacking on during the day. Obviously, if you're in a higher altitude area, it's probably going to be also cold, so your body's going to burn a lot more calories. It's going to need a lot more energy to sustain itself. So, without doing too much more talking, I suppose, we'll tear into this thing and see what kind of components we have, and then probably get our breakfast portion, I suppose, ready. So, we'll get a trusty little knife. We'll tear this thing open. As you can tell, this is a very large ration, and I believe it weighs 2.2 kilograms, which seems like a lot, and it certainly does feel like it's probably 2.2 kilograms. It's got a nice carry handle on it, Anyway, we'll tear into this thing. Everything looks like it's in pretty good shape. Some of this stuff I'm going to have to translate, obviously. Some of it's going to be fairly easy to tell what it is. But then other things I'll obviously have to sort of pause and get the old translator app out and figure out what it is I'm going to be eating. So first of all, what we have here is like a Russian chocolate spread, I guess is the best way to put it. Sort of like Nutella kind of thing. And it appears to be in pretty good shape. Seems pretty solid. Move this off to the side and make ourselves a bit more room. Next, to go along with the chocolate theme, are our 5 chocolate bars. All the same brand, obviously. These are great. Very high quality dark chocolate. It's very interesting they get 5 of them. Then we've got 5 packs of crackers. And some of these look pretty good, and some look like they've seen better days, but it's 5 packs of crackers. The last RP I had was slightly expired, I guess is the best way to put it, and everything wasn't in the greatest of shape, but we'll see how this one goes. We've also got a few drinks here. We've got ourselves a instant coffee and 2 packs of tea. Ourselves a pack of matches and a striker. Just got some standard napkins. A little contents sheet. This could probably make things a bit easier when it comes to translation. Also gives what the weight of all the items are. And we got ourselves a large packet of apple butter. This package seems actually awfully watery compared to what it normally is. Although this could be considered apple puree, I suppose. I'm not entirely sure if it's meant to be the apple sauce puree that usually comes in like a round can, or if this is meant to be the apple butter. The last Russian review I did, the RP, the packet of apple butter was incredibly puffed out, I suppose, under a great deal of pressure, and it was, I guess it had fermented and had gone bad, so it wasn't the greatest of experiences. We've got ourselves 3 sort of little short spoons, green. We have what feels like a sort of a fruit bar, sort of energy bar, that kind of thing. Feels very dense, but it has, like, you know, that sort of feeling of it being one of those compressed kind of raisin, date, apricot kind of things. Got ourselves a tin of processed cheese. I've had these before. It's actually pretty good. Not quite as good as the American ration cheese spread, but you know, it's all right. Then we've got ourselves 2 pâtés, one of which is made with brain and liver, and the other one is just liver itself. I've had the smaller packets of these, the sort of the round tins, almost like the cheese, in the previous Russian ration, and I'm not a huge fan of pâté, so yeah, probably won't be enjoying those too much, but they do come in the ration. We've got a bunch then of moist towelettes, one of which is for your hands and your face, and one of which is for your mess gear, I guess is the best way to put it. We've got 3 drink mixes, and they all are cherry flavored. I've had these before as well. The granules in these are incredibly large. It takes a little while to, I guess, dissolve those drink mixes, but they're actually pretty good quality. They taste really nice. And we've got ourselves 3 very large packets of sugar. And they are, I believe, 20 grams each. Yes, 20. So yeah, they give you 60 grams of sugar just in sugar packets, which seems like an awful lot. We've got ourselves a little opening device. Kind of looks like an arrowhead, but this is meant for perforating the foil lining around the cans and whatnot. We've also got ourselves a little folding stove with 3 heating tabs, which actually you can activate them with the striker instead of actually having to use the matches. That should be pretty interesting. We will not be using these in the house. I don't need the smell of these fuel tabs burning inside the house because, yeah, they smell like a mix of rotting fish and other things that I'd rather not try to describe. We also have an interesting item that you don't normally see in Russian rations. We have flameless ration heaters. So we have the flameless ration heater, and then we have extra pads to use. much like the other ration heaters that we see in American rations and various rations all around the world. This is basically a large galvanic cell. It's iron filings and salt. You add water to it, and of course that creates salt water, which then reacts with the iron. Some countries use magnesium as well, others use aluminum. It all depends on what their preference is. Sometimes they give off a very horrible smell, usually if it's magnesium instead of the aluminum. But these ones apparently are very high quality. You don't normally see FRHs in Russian rations. They usually only either have them, boil them, or put them on a stove or something like that. So it's interesting to see what these ones are going to be like. Then we have 6 water purification tablets. Comes with an awful lot. And we've got just a little sort of card that shows what the main meals when they were produced. And then we've got a packet of salt and a packet of black pepper. And then what we have left are, I guess, the main food items. So we have this, which I don't read Russian, and I don't speak Russian, but it certainly has this feeling of almost like Spam, luncheon meat kind of thing, but it's in a sort of a slab form. So we'll get that officially translated now in a second, but that's what it sort of feels like. And then we have 3 sort of, I guess, freeze-dried type items. 2 of them are kasha, and one of them is, I believe, a breakfast item, sort of like rice porridge, rice pudding kind of thing. The other one, I believe, is with buckwheat and beef, and I'm not entirely sure what this is, but I'll get the translator out in a second and figure that out. And then lastly, we have our 2 main items which come in retort pouches, which are a little interesting. You don't normally see the Russian meals come in retort pouches. They normally come in sort of square tins, similar to the tin of cheese. So this is the reason why they have the FRHs, obviously. It's because they have these retort pouches like you would find in many international rations. This one is a kasha, and this one I'm not entirely sure what it is. It's probably something along the lines of beef and potatoes or something like that. But once again, we'll get the official translation from the app now in a second, and then figure out what everything is. Alright, so we've got everything translated now. This, as I assumed, was a sausage sort of item, I suppose, best way to put it. It translates loosely to stuffing sausage amateur, so I'm not entirely sure what that's supposed to mean, but I'm sure it's going to be some sort of lunch meat, kind of like Spam. This is rice soup with meat. And then we've got a breakfast kasha, so it's a rice pudding, rice kasha with raisins. And then this is wheat kasha, so it could be buckwheat with meat, so we'll assume beef, something like that. And then as I assumed, this is kasha with meat, and then this is called goulash and potatoes. So that's our 2 main meals. So now the job, I suppose, for me is to figure out exactly how I'm going to break this down into meals. So we've got a lot of items here, and I'm going to have to try to figure out now what breakfast is going to be. So just give me 1 second, and we'll get that laid out on our tray. All right, so we've got everything laid out, or what I assume is a well-balanced breakfast meal. There's just an absolutely insane amount of food in this packet, so it was a bit difficult to figure out exactly the best way to go about breaking it all down, but I feel like this is probably a pretty good breakfast. So what we got is our rice kasha with raisins, and also I'm going to mix up the soup with rice and meat, and we've got ourselves our fruit bar, a pack of crackers, and our apple jam. We're going to have a cup of tea to go with that, and one of our chocolate bars. So I suppose the first thing we should probably do is get our rice kasha ready. It says to mix this with 100 mils of water and let it sit for a while. So we'll get this open. As you can see, it's got raisins in there and milk powder. It actually smells amazingly pleasant. So I'm looking forward to trying that. So we'll open this one, and we'll also open up our soup, because that one needs to get going. And this one needs to get mixed with, it says 330 mils of water. So we'll cut this one open. So we've got croutons and vegetables, and it's got a very, can't quite put my finger on it. Not quite a chicken stock, not quite a beef stock kind of smell to it, but it's very strong when it comes to the vegetable sort of side of it. So it has almost like a Mrs. Dash kind of smell to it. So we're just going to pour that out. We're going to just prepare our soup in our strongbow glass. And seeing that we're going to be getting some hot water going for all of this, also get our cup of tea ready. I've had this particular brand of tea before. It's called Royal Elephant, and it's actually pretty good tea. So we're gonna go get some hot water from the Keurig for a bunch of this stuff, and then we'll be back in a second. All right, so we got our hot water for a number of our items. So we're just gonna give our, I guess, our rice pudding, rice kasha a bit of a stir first. Make sure everything gets well constituted. Looks pretty good. Just fold this over a little bit. Let that sit. Also got our cup of tea. And we've got our soup, which we'll also give a bit of a stir to. Seems very hearty. It's got a lovely smell to it. So, got high hopes for that one. We'll just keep that sitting there and let that reconstitute as well. So what do we have left? Well, let's open up our fruit bar, I suppose. And it's exactly as I thought it would be. It's got that sort of apricot date kind of look to it. All right, next, I guess the best thing to probably do is, well, we can open up our chocolate bar, I suppose. Just have a look at that. That'll be our dessert, I suppose, for our breakfast. You're not really supposed to have dessert with breakfast, but hey, this thing comes with 5 chocolate bars. I'm going to enjoy this as much as possible. And as we can see, this is a very dark chocolate. I'm not entirely sure of the cocoa content, but it's incredibly dark. As you can see, it's no bloom whatsoever. All looks like it's pretty high quality. And then we'll get our pack of crackers open. I thought I'd just take one of the beat up ones. I don't really mind my crackers being beat up a little bit. Maybe save some of the nicer looking ones for later. And the last time I had these crackers, they were just on the verge of being stale, so it'll be interesting to see if these ones are at least maybe a little fresher than the last pack I had. And it's interesting that this particular ration only comes with the white wheat crackers. Most IRPs seem to have like a mix. Even the Emercom rations, the ones that come in the big blue packages, seem to have like an equal amount of both these particular crackers, which are the white wheat, and then they also have the whole wheat ones. This one only comes with 5 packs of the white. I'm not sure why there'd be that distinction. Maybe there's a method to it. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, these look like they're pretty good. And lastly, I guess we'll open up our packet of apple jam or apple puree. Like I said, it seems an awful lot more watery than I thought it was going to be after seeing many of these reviews. But anyway. And yeah, this has a very dark look to it. It's not like applesauce. Like they say, it's more like apple butter. But this one at least looks like it should be good, and smells like. It should be good. So this is going to be interesting. I've been looking forward to finally getting some of this that's actually edible. So I'm looking forward to finally getting to try that. Let's give our tea bag a bit of a stir. Try to get that released a little bit more. I don't usually put any cream or sugar or anything like that in there. I usually just like my tea straight up like that. So yeah, there's not a whole lot left to do. I guess we can check our rice pudding, or whatever you want to call it, and see if that's ready. Looks like it's pretty good. Dump it out. So it's not a huge portion, but obviously there's a lot of food items when you put it all together. It seems pretty good, but this seems rather sort of like natural, I guess is the best way to put it. It's got like, you know, a lot of like yellow golden raisins in there and rice flakes, some milk powder. So let's give this a try, see what it's like. Wow, that's fantastic. It's not sweet in any way. The milk powder lends itself well to it. I don't know if I want to say it's savory, but there is a bit of a taste there I'm getting. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it's very pleasing to the palate. It's not sweet, it's not salty. It's somewhere in between there. But as you can see, this is great. I put just the perfect amount of water in there. It seems to have really reconstituted well, and those raisins are nice. Yeah, those raisins give the only sort of hint of sweetness that's in there, but they are very prevalent. Makes for a really nice breakfast meal. I'm going to enjoy sort of finishing this off. Let's try out, first of all, just a piece of the cracker on its own. See if it's a little fresher than the last one that I had. Yeah, it's a lot more crisp and dry than the last one I had. Doesn't have a whole lot of flavor to it. Obviously, it's just a white cracker. So it's a little neutral, a little bland. Now, maybe the wheat crackers probably might have actually been a good touch here. But now we'll finally get to try out this apple butter. See what this is all about. So we'll pour some out. As you can see, it's got that kind of amber color to it. Oh, wow. That is absolutely amazing. I'm not entirely sure what particular brand of apple they use, but it's a good mix of both sweet and tart, and it's just the perfect mix of both. This is probably the best apple jam, whatever you want to call it. This tastes even better than sort of apple puree. This is absolute perfection. And to being 100 grams of this, yeah, that's going to go a long way. That's going to be fantastic. Maybe just cleanse the palate a little tiny bit. Let's give our cup of tea a try. It doesn't look overly strong. I didn't put a whole lot of water in there, but let's see how it is. It's a bit more bitter than I remember it being the last time. I don't know if it's if that means it's either fresher or older. I'm not entirely sure how it's supposed to be. If it's supposed to be normally like that, or if it's supposed to be like it was in the IRP I did a while back. But it's okay. I like tea bitter, so it's good. It helps, you know, cleanse the palate. It's a lovely sort of strong flavor. Not overly strong, but it's not sort of mild either, I suppose. It's sort of in between there somewhere. What do we have left? We've got our fruit bar, we got our chocolate, we got our soup. I guess we'll probably give our soup a try now. Seems to have reconstituted well. Let's get a nice spoonful here. You can see it's got, you know, got your herbs and some little pieces of dehydrated vegetable and whatnot in there. Looks like carrot, red pepper, that kind of thing. And the sort of same rice flakes, I guess, that's in the rice pudding that we're also having. So yeah, let's give this a try. There's supposed to be meat in there. You don't really see a whole lot of it, but it's supposed to contain it. There you go. There's a little tiny, few little flecks of what are supposed to be meat. Let's see if this makes it taste any different. I don't know if I put too much water in there or what, but it's not bland. You're getting a lot of the vegetable stock, I guess, a lot of the herb kind of flavor in there, and also the dehydrated carrot and pepper. You get that a lot more than anything else. You really don't taste the meat in there at all, whatever happens to actually be there. It doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of it in there as well. And then the rice itself sort of gets subdued by the broth that it's sitting in. It's not bad, but it could have a little bit more flavor to my liking. And I'm sure I could add some black pepper or something to it or something like that, but I don't think that's particularly necessary. It's a good sort of way to start your day, you know, depending on what climate you're in. A nice hot cup of soup to start me off, you know, that should be pretty good. I guess next we'll try out our fruit bar. So it looks like it's got most likely probably raisins and dates as the main component. It's very sticky, very malleable. It's got that sort of jelly kind of consistency to it, and you tear it open. It does seem a little granular, I guess. But let's give it a try. That's an incredibly strong date and raisin flavor. Maybe a little bit of plum in there as well. But yeah, it's great. It's sort of like those fruit source bars you can sometimes get in Canadian IMPs. You know, they're sold anywhere here in Canada. Sort of, you know, compressed, concentrated fruit. It's got a little bit more to it. It's a little bit more grainy. It's also got these sort of flecks in there. Just gives it a little bit more bite. But it's good flavor. It's a little bit of sweetness, but not too much sweetness. And it's just a little bit of tartness as well, but it's I guess another way to get some calories, and it's probably got some vitamins in there, hopefully. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see everything on the whole package, but it looks like it's a pretty good item. And lastly, I suppose, what we have left is our chocolate. Our dessert item to go along with this. So yeah, let's see if this is as good as it always is. And that's just a wonderful, high-quality dark chocolate. A little tiny bit creamy. It's got a nice snap to it, like a good dark chocolate would have, but it's not an overly high cocoa level, I don't think, because you still get a little bit of that creaminess, and you're getting a little bit of bitter, but then a little bit of sweet as well. It's a nice mix. It's probably a mid-level, I would think, kind of thing, maybe like a 50%, 55%, something like that. So yeah, no complaints about that chocolate whatsoever. So yeah, guys, we've gone through everything now. We've gone through the rice pudding with the raisins, and had our tea, tried out our apple butter, which is just absolutely amazing. I'm very much looking forward now to, you know, when this review is over, to sit down and finish all this off. The crackers are actually pretty good. They're the best I've had so far when it comes to Russian ration crackers. And the fruit bar is great. Chocolate bar is great. The soup could maybe use either a little bit more salt, or could just use a little bit of something. But it's not perfect, but it's certainly a lot better than what I was expecting. So yeah, this has been a lot greater of an experience than I had with the IRP I reviewed a nice while ago. That was starting to show its age. This, even though it's, you know, soon actually going to be reaching its expiry date, all the components have been absolutely perfect. Taste amazingly fresh. No issues whatsoever. So that ends part 1, guys. Part 2 will be coming along as quick as I possibly can get it. Maybe there'll be a few special guests show up, like we've seen in you know, the Danish ration review and the Swedish ration review. You know, I got a few Russian items I can bring out as special guests, and also look out for Shocker 71's review of his Mountain FSB Menu 1 ration. See what's similar and see what's different. So once again, guys, thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a good one.